everybody. Welcome to another week of live racing here in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Track announcer Chris Griffin on out of the gate as we're set to kick off a beautiful week. It is gorgeous outside, a little bit chilly, and as seen on TikTok, here I am. Make sure you check it out as we got my man Rob CNI having a good smile and dancing a little bit. Shout out Sabrina helping us out on camera as always. But before we get into handicapping some of today's card, it's a gorgeous day outside off the turf. Let's take a look at some of last week's winners where it wasn't great weather. It was raining pretty much the entire week. So let's take a look at the Parks Playback.
Parks Playback time, here we go. On Monday, lots of rain in the area, but two-color map went coast to coast. Tyler Servis and Abner Adorno teaming up on the drop for an easy win. Boat Over the Hill was just floating right over the sloppy main track from off the pace for Hall of Fame trainer Patricia Farrell, and leading apprentice Andy Hernandez got the victory. Victor's Valiant for trainer Alan Bedard. He had a nice week as well. Gets a score with Andrew Wolfson aboard. Tuesday time, Lost Luggage for trainer John Servis was much improved in start number 2. Abner Adorno chalked up another win on the week. Don't Blame Freddie. He trains the horse. Freddie Velasquez paired up with Jeremy We Need a Laprida for the Happy Connections. Flat Lucky up in the final stages. Frankie Pennington for trainer Jamie Ness in a thrilling stretch run in time. Towson for Halim Lee and Jose Rangel, they do it again. Towson got right to the lead and couldn't be caught, gate to wire. Cold Walker capped off the huge week for Abner Adorno. John Servis training the winner, impressive. Miss Pepina closed out the week at a price. Luis Ocasio had a double. And always good to end the week with a long shot. Elliot Soto Martinez with a training double on the afternoon. Have a great week.
Taking a look at race number 1 and handicapping the card as we take a look at some of these races with a fast main track. It looks like we'll have the fast main track here on this Monday afternoon. The number 6 in here, Turf to Dirt, not my favorite angle, but this horse has just been running better numbers than the rest in this field in the opener. An outside draw. This is before scratches and changes, so if any of these picks need to be adjusted, I'll do that when we get to the live show. But Far Heart, Jorge Pineo aboard, has been running on the turf, gets on the main track. It just seems like if this horse is up near the pace, just has a little bit more left in the lane than some of the other rivals in here in race number 1. Race number 2, when you talk about 6.5 furlongs, to me it looks like it's between two horses. I like Abadale off the claim. Gonna put that horse underneath, behind the number 6 in there, God Still Loves Me. Andy Hernandez will be aboard. I think this horse does present some value. 5-1 in the morning line with an outside draw, has shown some speed. This horse faded in the late stages, but finished behind Pegasus in Flight. And Pegasus in Flight has really been on a roll here for trainer Jamie Ness. Abadale's down towards the inside, first off the claim for Jamie Ness, so it's hard to leave the 1 off of the ticket, but the 6 has what I think is a little bit of a better draw, post position wise, has that outside stalking type trip, possibly this time second off the layout for Ramon Martin. And you get the weight break there with leading apprentice Andy Hernandez. So I do like this horse quite a bit. We'll see if God Still Loves Me does present that 5-1 in race. I'm trying to hide my phone for my notes, but then you can see the phone right there. Hey, we got a chance to catch up with Tyler Servis and Shooger Ray Too, who won the Bucks County Stakes last week right here at Parks. Over the wet track was a main track only, and Tyler talked about Shooger Ray Too and maybe what races they're looking at here for the rest of the fall.
Like I said to you earlier, I was a little shocked that I was the only MTO in there with the storms coming up this way. But, I mean, everything worked out perfect. Abner rode a great race, pace set up perfect. We had a garden trips on the rail, which tended to be really good yesterday. And he tipped out, turning for home. And once he gets in the clear, he does his best running. A whole different class of horses up there when you get to Saratoga. And obviously you're running against the best of the best. So it was a big test for him. I mean, a couple races didn't work out as planned for us, and the last race up there, Louis rode him perfect, and he dug in, and he's always game. I mean, 19 starts, he's been in the money, 16 of the 19. He's just been a real ultra game horse, and we're just happy to have him. Everything was perfect. Abner sensed pretty early that they were moving at a good clip, and didn't rush him a little too much leaving the gate. And going into the backside, I thought we were in a great position with the early fractions. And coming to the 3/8, I saw him getting into the bit a little bit. The horses started to scoot away a little bit at the 3/8, but obviously with those times, they're going to come back to you at some point, and he was patient and coming to the top of the lane. I mean, he tipped them out and got through that hole, and the results were there. I mean, especially for this horse. This horse has been so big for my barn. He took us a lot of places. He was second Preakness Day at Pimlico, and an allowance, a really good race as well. Got beat ahead. Just it meant a lot to us, and to get that win with Abner. I mean, me and him in the country are 25% right now, so I'm really confident giving him a leg up and getting a stake win for one of my best clients, Dave Charlton of Vintage Thoroughbreds. It's great. You got to think about the marathon if it comes up light. I mean, I got scared away from the Greenwood here last week. Looked like a tough field. Favorite didn't show up. Watched the horse kind of walk around there and steal the race at a little bit of a price. So I was disappointed at that, but in the back of my mind, if I felt confident of running a good race in a grade 3, I thought we'd be ultra tough yesterday. So we'll talk with the owner, maybe the Breeders' Cup Marathon, but if not, the Queens County at Aqueduct. That'll be our target.
Race number 3, taking a look at the number 6 in Memphis Mafia. Paco Lopez is going to be back aboard. Wasn't aboard last time when the horse did go to Penn. Now comes back here to Parks and even had some trouble at the start. And I'm going to talk about that on the live show when we take a look at the replay and the start of that last effort. 2 starts back, actually, I should say, at this $10,000 level. You get Michael Pino, you get Paco Lopez teaming up at 9-2. I think if this horse breaks well and doesn't have to get shuffled back in the early stages, I think we'll finish a little bit stronger. So Memphis Mafia is the top choice in today's third race. Race number 4 as we continue on. I like Birchmont Road to the inside. When you take a look at the one in here, Lulander Jr., he's continuing to have really strong work over the last, what would we say, last 2 months. I mean, he sits second in the standings, so you've seen him consistently pick up wins throughout the season, but as we've gotten into the tail end of the summer and into the fall, he's really starting to put them together. A couple wins here, a couple wins there. Each week, it just seems like this barn is really getting things just rolling here as we get towards the wintertime. So Birchmont Road with an inside draw. Dexter Haddock, second off the layoff, actually ran pretty well in the last start, finishing second behind ET Superstar, and was the bet down to favoritism, was the beaten favorite in that race. So it just seems like Birchmont Road has to work out the right trip from the rail here at this 7 furlongs, but at the 7,500 on 3, also a little bit of a drop in class. So Birchmont Road is the top pick. We've got great, exciting things coming up next week on the 18th as we come right back here to Parks with not only some stakes racing action, but also Hall of Fame Day, where we will induct our newest inductees into the Parks Racing Hall of Fame. So shout out to the best TV crew in the business and check this. Yeah, that's a nice commercial right there. Hall of Fame. Make sure you check that out next week, Hall of Fame Day, where we induct our newest members of the Parks Racing Hall of Fame. Race number 5, taking a look at that race. 6 furlongs, maiden $16,000 race in here, and taking a look at the number 8 Imagism. First off the claim here for the Michael Pino barn. This has been a winning angle. Michael Sanchez will be aboard. We'll see if we catch that 4-1. I think comes down a little bit, but with an outside draw, some of that speed, just has to carry the speed through the late stages of the race. Hasn't been doing that, but I think has a chance to do it here this afternoon. Race number 6, when you go to the 2-turn distance, 1 mile and 70 yards at the open, $25,000 claiming level. The number 4, Shane's Jewel, coming off some time off, and I think you're going to see Jamie Ness pretty strong here towards the tail end of the card. Ruben Silvera will be aboard. Horse has got front end speed. 1 back in February. Comes back into this spot, 1 over at Penn. Now the 7-year-old gelding comes back here to Parks and I think has a big shot and is not in for the tag. So when you take a look at the 4, Shane's Jewel, I just think that this horse has got a big run here with front end speed and should take them a long, long way in that 6th race. We got a chance to catch up with the trainer on the backside as we do here on Out of the Gate and spend some time with him and talk about a special horse, talk about his family. This is our interview with trainer Nate Pisana.
Trainer Nate Pisana started to take interest in horse racing at a very young age.
My mom is from Guyana. My dad is from Brazil. They both met in America. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. I used to go to the Meadowlands as a kid, always. My parents had some horses, so they both always told me that I told them I would be a trainer since I was 3 years old. I went to the local high school, Eastside High School, and for some reason, I just really, really liked the horses. So I stuck with it. At first, I was actually allergic to horses. My skin would break out whenever I pet them and was in the barn. I just trucked through it and I'm here.
Starting a career in horse racing isn't easy. Nate Pisana started off by making some tough decisions.
It's scary because I believe they failed at first in owning horses. And then they came back in like the early 2000s, which I was still a teenager. They were very supportive of it. My dad passed away, which is probably one of the reasons I am trading horses, because in 06 he passed away and I was working construction in New York. I had my daughter, my wife now, girlfriend at the time. I just when he passed away, I was devastated enough to be like, life's too short. And this is what I said, I'm gonna go train horses. So I literally packed up everything and moved to Bensalem. And I worked like 2 or 3 jobs while working at the track just so I can train horses.
Trainer Nate Pisana continues the family tradition with his kids.
My daughter's name's Nicole. She has been addicted to horses ever since I was able to bring her into the track. And she'd come feed the horses. She asked, hey, can I walk a horse? Can I do this? Can I do that? I'm like, let's go baby steps. But she did it. She was great. She got her license here. She comes in all the time. She actually loves to help Eddie Coletti. And she works for him in the summer, the last 2 summers. My daughter wants to go to school for business. She's a senior right now. She says her goal is to have a great job so she can support the horses. And my son's been helping me the last, really this summer and a little bit last summer, but he hasn't taken to the horses like her, but he likes the money part. He says, so I could just work 4 or 5 hours and make X amount of dollars? I'm like, well, if you have horses, yeah, you can.
Trainer Nate Pisana has a nice turf horse in his barn. She's unique and gets nothing but the best from her trainer.
The breeder called me. I believe like a bunch of trainers turned down taking a shot on her because she has one eye. If you see, she's missing her right eye. But this horse, since a baby, has been phenomenal. Like, she has never done anything wrong. She just does everything right. She's actually gonna go to the farm for the winter and come back next turf season. We ran her first time on a dirt, she got beat 5 lengths. I was like, that was good. To the next 2 starts, she had no interest. And one morning, I was breezing her with Ruben Severa. He said, you should try this horse on the turf. Another rider had mentioned her action. So I said, all right. So the first time we get her in on the turf, don't know what to expect. We're just running our race. She gets beat, I think, a neck. She ran 3rd, lost the race by a neck. So we got a turf horse. And the Wagilia side from her dad, they run on everything. Turf, dirt, synthetic, whatever you put them on, they run.
Melissa may have one eye. She's got the heart of a racehorse.
A lot of people ask, but I don't get into details because you don't know how they're gonna react. You say she only has one eye and you don't know what they're gonna say. She tries every time. There's not a time that she runs that she doesn't try. She doesn't always win, but she does try.
Trainer Nate Pisana is unique himself. Being a younger trainer, he always remains young at heart.
I like to be different. I grew up watching The Simpsons, like that was on that shirt. I usually wear a lot of shirts with stuff that remind me of like my teens and 20s because everything now is kind of bland to me. Like maybe I'm getting older. So I like to wear just like stuff that reminds me. I have a MTV rap shirt or Yo MTV rap shirt. The people that in their 30s know what it is. 20-year-olds are like, what is that?
Any advice to young trainers from Nate Pisana?
Whatever you're gonna do, just make sure you love it because it's very hard. It's very easy to do everything when money's coming. But when you're trying to rebuild or you're starting off, you don't make a lot of money. And it's very hard and you lose a lot of hope, but stick with it and it will pay off. The better you do with them, the better they'll do for you. I love the horses. I love the business. Believe it or not, I don't like gambling. Like, I don't gamble, but this is my gamble. I wake up every day, I invest in them. If it pays off, it pays off. If it doesn't, I was along for the ride.
Shout out to Nate Pisana and his entire team. Appreciate that. Spending some time with us here at Parks. That Philly Big 5 carryover jackpot over $72,000 going into this Monday of racing. $72,437.89. It's a Big 5 format. It's always the last 5 races of the day and off the turf, so that's going to change up race 8. But race number 7, we've seen this big class drop. Jamie Ness takes a drop here from a horse that was running at the allowance type, optional 16. I just think that the drop is going to be a drop into a win, and then you see if the claiming tag is going to be out there on a horse that has been showing and running against some pretty strong class level, and that's the number 1 World Party. So I don't know if you're going to get 5-2. I think it's going to be a little shorter than that, but the number 1 World Party should be tough there in race number 7. Race number 8, I have not seen the scratches and changes yet. So for right now, I am going to pick the 7 Paradise Pride. It's Jamie Ness, it's Ruben Silvera. This is going to be the top pick because this horse was entered main track only. And again, we'll update those scratches and changes, so I don't want to do too deep of a dive here into race number 8. But the 7 is the top pick, and I do think that this horse is competitive enough to win at the main track only, but when you see some of these turf horses come out of the race and a horse that's kind of pointing to this spot that has been doing some decent work over the main track, slight drop in class for the 25,000 down to the 15, so I think the 7 makes a lot of sense. But so does the 10, Risque Rebel. That horse has been on a roll. If this horse gets into the field as well, you got to include the 10 on some tickets. Race number 9, taking a look at the 9th race in here, and that's going to be the number 11, Hazam, towards the far outside. I picked this horse on top last time, just didn't really fire, ran a 4th place finish, and it was just an okay 4th. Comes back at this $10,000 level. Silvino Ramirez is teaming up with Angel Rodriguez one more time. Maybe this horse bounces back off of that last effort. Again, I'm not sure if the last race was a true reflection of Hazam or the 2 starts back. I'm hoping the 2 starts back. Horse is 6-1 on the morning line. I like the draw for the son of Bernardini towards the far outside. And this horse does make some sense to me when you take a look at Hazam. So at the distance as well, 9 starts at the distance, 2 wins, a second, and 2 thirds. So 5 out of 9 times this horse is in the trifecta. We'll see if the 11 Hazam does show up there in race number 9. I'm not going to talk about the late double too much, but we're going to take a look at our performance of the week as we always do, and Michael C. Arrow, he's our choice this week. Calculated Breeze going back-to-back for the connections. Jose Gomez aboard there for trainer Michael C. Arrow, getting another victory, and we'll see if this horse goes off favored next time out, because if the horse runs back, should be one of the top choices again, or are we going to catch value here? And let's try and catch some value on this Monday with plenty of selections all throughout the afternoon. Looking forward to having you join us for the live racing action. Next week, we'll be back with another episode of Out of the Gate. We'll be back with some stakes racing as well next week. We got the Jumpstart Stakes. We got the Mike Belezzi Appreciation Mile. So some really good stakes races as we just continue to throw the stakes at you here at Parks on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That is always great to see. We had a great week last week, even with the weather. Looking forward to the new inductees in the Hall of Fame, and I know what you guys are all waiting for. That's right, I'm going to dance now on the show here. I'm just kidding, I'm not going to dance. Everybody just all freaked out there. All at the same time. Make sure you guys have a great week of racing. Don't forget where you can follow us on all of our social media accounts right here at Parks. We are on Twitter at Parks Racing, at In the Grandstand, of course. Make sure you check that out. Comment, give your selections. I'll have scratches and changes coming up pretty soon. Off the turf here for live racing. On YouTube, just hit that subscribe. We're over 1,000 subscribers, so thank you again to all the folks out there that were getting involved and watching all of our content. We'll get all of the content that we just showed you here today up on YouTube very soon this week. Follow us on Facebook and, of course, on Instagram. It is Parks_Racing. We got 3 days of racing coming up as we're well into the month of October. It's a big time to be a Philadelphia fan, just outside of Philadelphia here in Bensalem. All the sports teams are going well, and hopefully your bets today are going very well. We'll see you here next week on Out of the Gate here at Parks.